The sun shines in Berlin. A beautiful Saturday, a chill in the air, but a quiet energy about this extraordinary city, and an extraordinary energy in the Schwimm- und Sprunghalle im Europa Sportpark. This is the Diving World Cup, and it takes place alongside the Swimming World Cup. For the first time ever, two World Cups taking place in the same venue, divided by the curtain you can see on the right of your screen. The focus this afternoon is very much on the diving competition and the expectation of continued success for the People's Republic of China, for they won all of the 3 gold medals on offer yesterday. Will they do the same again today? Certainly they will be the overwhelming favourites, considering the calibre of competitors that they have sent to this competition. It's a great pleasure to have your company wherever in the world you're joining the action from today, and whoever it is that you are supporting, and however long you've been enjoying the wonderful sport of diving. A sport that perhaps in true Berlin fashion brings together the best of technical engineering feats and the best of aesthetics and art. It is the meeting point of pure technique and pure artistry. Berlin itself might lay claim to that. This is what's coming up today. 3 finals for your entertainment. We start with 2 synchronized 3-meter springboard competitions and then conclude our coverage with the women's 10-meter platform final. We will, of course, bring you the victory ceremonies at the close of play, but we are some way away from that. First and foremost, let's get the athletes out poolside and get ready to enjoy the women's 3-meter synchronized springboard competition. It's been a direct path to the finals for all of the athletes in the synchronized events. No semi-final stage in the individual events, but there was a preliminary round. We have 5 teams competing in this women's 3-meter synchronized competition.
Please welcome our participants for the women's 3-meter springboard synchro final.
And we start with the United States of America, Kristen Hayden and Brooke Schultz. Kristen Hayden won her first individual national medal last year, and also a gold in the mixed 3-meter synchronized competition. She's a year older than the 23-year-old Schultz, who has a good collection of Grand Prix medals. Viviana Uribe and Daniela Zapata of Colombia next to come out. They've just won medals at the South American Games, including the synchronized title together. And what a reaction for Zhang Yani and Chen Yuen of the People's Republic of China, the world champions. And they also have 5 World Cup titles between them. A bigger reception as expected for Saskia Oertinghaus and Jana Röther of Germany.
Team number 5, Brazilian. Team 5, Brazil.
And finally we have Ana Lucia dos Santos and Luana Lira of Brazil. And they have just taken the bronze medal in the 3-meter synchronized springboard competition at the South American Games. So those are your 5 in the women's 3-meter synchronized springboard competition in Berlin. An introduction, as is customary, of all of the officials responsible for the administration of this competition. And for those of you who are new or newer to watching diving, I know there are many of you out there who follow the sport week in, week out in every competition, so this certainly doesn't apply to you, but those who are newer to watching it, well, you are about to see 5 dives take place by each of the 5 teams. And the first 2 of them, as is the case in all synchronized competitions, have a fixed difficulty degree of 2.0, then flexibility emerges after that. And there will be officials judging the degree of synchronization, or the success of the synchronization and the execution. And there are those aforementioned judges. An algorithm is performed, it is then multiplied with the degree of difficulty, and as I'm sure many of you know, the divers have to announce their dives beforehand. There is no opportunity to change or improvise the dives. If you do not perform the announced dive, it is a 0 score. We did unfortunately see 1-0 score yesterday for a young competitor in his first FINA final. It's entirely understandable. And I think it's always worth saying at a time like this, as we look at these judges who are there to provide clarity, to provide separation, to ensure that there is no sentiment to how this sport is interpreted, that we must adopt a little sentiment every now and then as people watching the sport and recognise that the confusing and beguiling thing about diving is how easy it is made to look by exceptional competitors. And every so often, an issue will happen, a dive will go wrong, and we'll be reminded of the extraordinary complexity of this wonderful sport. It does us good every now and then in artistic sports just to stop and remind ourselves that once you get into the habit of watching dive upon dive upon dive, you can forget just how extraordinarily complicated and precise this sport is. These athletes make it look as though it is a trifling matter, and it is not. This is the elite level. And they are thoroughly excited, as I hope you are too, for the start of this women's 3-meter synchronized final. Just moments away now from the beginning of competition here in Berlin. A very well-known and well-loved venue, this, for fans of aquatics. So will it be a clean sweep today for the People's Republic of China, just as it was yesterday? Let's find out. The star list for the women's synchronized 3-meter springboard final at the Diving World Cup in Berlin, and we naturally have expectations that the reigning world champions in the People's Republic of China will really deliver. It's going to be a fascinating contest to see who can get a place on the podium with those athletes from the People's Republic of China, assuming that all, it's a big assumption, goes according to plan. Just never know. You come in as the world champions, you're expected to be victorious. But then there is pressure associated with that. And so it is time to begin the women's 3-meter synchronized springboard final. Kristen Hayden and Brooke Schultz from the United States of America will start with an inward dive in the pike position. 24 and 23 respectively. Hayden just a little over on the entry. Young athlete who's a graduate of the University of Minnesota, now at the Indiana University Graduate School. She's got a great academic record. But this was very solidly executed from the pair of them. And well synchronized too. And they start with a 46.2. Viviana Uribe and Daniela Zapata of Colombia. Same dive, inward in the pike position. Real pleasure to see the reigning South American Games champions, one in Asunción in Paraguay at the start of the month. Uribe is 5 years older than the 20-year-old Zapata.
Execution 7, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6, 6.5. Synchronization
42.6 for them.
7.5, 7.5, 7.5. The People's Republic of China. Rückwärts Bosch gehechtet, Backdive, Pike.
First chance to see Chang Yani and Chen Yuen of the People's Republic of China, the world champions. So they will open with a back dive in the pike position. Really beautiful opening. They've got such a lovely snap into the pike position, coming out of it. Beautiful straightness in the body, clear entry. That will do well. Beautiful toe point, heels and toes pretty together. It's a 52.8. And it's a commanding lead already for Chang and Chen. Saskia Oertinghaus and Jana Rotter of Germany. Back dive in the pike position, the same dive we've just seen from the People's Republic of China. Two 24-year-olds. Lovely moment this for them, performing in front of the home crowd. Rotter is actually based in this city. And that will do very nicely for a first dive from them, a nerve-settling moment.
Execution 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7.
Let's have a look back at it again.
7.5, 7.5, 7.5, 7, 7.5.
That was reasonably well synchronized. It was reasonably well executed. It leads to a 43.8 score.
Brazil, forward dive, pike.
The final dive of the first round of Luana Lira and Ana Lucia dos Santos of Brazil. Forward dive in the pike position for them, the only one of those that we've seen in this first round.
Execution 6, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7.5. Synchronization 7, 7, 7.
Sure, it was the
7.5.
cleanest pike position that we've seen so far. 42.6 the score for the Brazilians. And so that takes us to the end of the first round. It is Chang and Chen who lead the way, 52.8. The United States of America behind them in second place. Germany in the provisional bronze medal position, but a long way to go. We've got 4 more dives to come. Let's head back to the top of the order. Kristen Hayden and Brooke Schultz of the United States of America started with a 46.2. put them in second place. We now see a reverse dive in the pike position. Again, from an entry point of view, maybe just slightly off alignment, but they made a perfectly secure start to this final, the pair of them. I find execution-wise it is down from the first. 7.5. They have been well synchronised so far, and it's 42.6 for them, so that is down by just over 3 marks from the first dive. Now we look at Viviane Uribe and Daniela Zapata. Second dive for them, reverse dive piked. Didn't look quite right from the word go, really. They did well to steady it as best as possible, the Colombians. It is the first time ever at a World Cup for Zapata. She's only 20. They actually kept it reasonably well synchronised. Considering a few execution issues, the entry was generating a reasonable amount of splash. The score is 39.6 for the Colombians. Reverse dive, pike for Chan Yani and Chen Yuen. Yet again, it has very little splash and a lovely sense of smoothness. Aesthetically strong work from the People's Republic of China. This will get very high marks. 8.5. Secure takeoff, beautiful toe point going into the pike position, and the entry, as I'm sure you can see, generates little by way of splash. 51.6, not quite as strong as the first dive, but they set a high bar. Second from the German team of Saskia Oertinghaus and Jana-Lisa Rotter. Inward dive in the pike position. Third place coming into this second round. Second time at a World Cup for Saskia Oertinghaus. She competed in Tokyo last year. This is more solid work from them. Very synchronised on the entry. It's a 46.2 for them. Quite a strong improvement from the first dive. Now to Brazil. Inward dive piked. Final dive of the second round. They both won the bronze medal at the South American Games in Paraguay at the start of the month. A little lacking in straightness on the entry. Kept the heels nicely glued together when piked, though. Toe point was quite exacting. 41.4. So down by just over a mark from the preliminary round. Or the first round, I should say. By a healthy margin of over 14 marks, Chang Yani and Chen Yuen lead the way. Oertinghaus and Rotter have gone into the silver medal position, courtesy of a very good second dive. USA down in third place now. But Plenty can change as we now have the difficulty cap taken off for the remaining 3 dives. Kristen Hayden and Brooke Schultz of the United States of America dropped down a place after the last round. This is their forward 3.5 somersaults piked, 3.1 degree of difficulty. That was a tricky looking one from the takeoff. The trajectory just seemed a little at 6s and 7s. Again, they did well to make what they did out of it, but it will be lower than desired from an execution standpoint. It's such a marginal thing, judging the trajectory, as any of you out there, the divers will affirm. 54.87. Viviana Uribe and Daniela Zapata of Colombia. Forward 2.5 somersaults piked, 1 twist. 3.0 for this dive's difficulty. The entry just seemed a touch on the rushed side, but there was a lot in the air that worked solidly.
Execution 6, 6.5, 5.5, 6.5, 5.5, 5.5. Synchronization.
Timing-wise, it was perhaps a little off from the takeoff, but scores 56.7. Synchronization higher than the execution, and that is the most heavily weighted thing. To Chang Yani and Chen Yiwen, inward 2.5 somersaults piked, 3.0 degree of difficulty. Well, it'll be very interesting to look at the execution and synchronization marks for this, with them having set such a high standard early on. It might be a little lower. Quite a bit of leg separation on the left in the pike position. Heels not really pressed together, so end is down a little, but it's still a very good score, 72. And it will extend their lead by some way. Saskia Oertinghaus and Jana Rotter of Germany. They've done well so far, getting into the silver medal position coming into this round. This is forward to 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist, piked. 3.0 difficulty. And they've impressed so far in this competition. Let's see how this compares to the number of the USA. It should be quite a bit higher.
7, 6, 6.5, 6.5, 7. Synchronization.
Might well really push them convincingly into second place. Fair amount of splash, but quite synchronized. Leading to a 63.9. That compared to a 54.87 for the USA with their dive. Luana Lira and Ana Lucia dos Santos. Back 2.5 somersaults, piked. Trouble with the entry, didn't they, with that dive? So 3.0 degree of difficulty. We'll have a look back at it. Synchronization wasn't quite there as they rotated round, and a fair old slap down on the water. Might find this is quite low. It's 51.3. 4.5 and 5 for execution there. Zhang Yanyi, Chen Yuen well and truly at the top of the leaderboard. Oettinghaus and Rotter have extended and consolidated second place. Hayden and Schultz in third position. And they have a margin that's not fully comfortable over the Colombians. It's going to be interesting to see this dive and the next one after it. This is a more difficult dive than the Colombians are aiming for. Kristen Hayden and Brooke Schultz back 2.5 somersaults piked. Has 0.2 higher a degree of difficulty than what we'll see from the team that's vying to get beyond the US onto the podium. There will be a fair amount in terms of execution issues for the entry into the water for the United States of America. We'll have a look back at it again. It was quite mixed. It was well entered by Hayden. Schultz perhaps less so. Might see quite a discrepancy, indeed so, to a score of 51.3. So the door is open now, isn't it, for Colombia? Viviana Uribe and Daniela Zapata. Now this is 2.8 difficulty, 0.2 lower than the US. Forward 3.5 somersaults tucked. So it's the old difficulty execution synchronization trade-off. Let's see. Well, interesting. Certainly much about it was secure.
Execution 4.5, 6, 6, 6.
Might be quite close.
Synchronization 6.5.
Again, a fair amount of splash as they enter the water, but not quite to the degree of the Americans. 53.76. So they have managed to pick up about 2.5 marks. We'll come back to that later. Zhang Yanyi and Chen Yuen. Forward 3.5 somersaults pike. This 3.1 degree of difficulty. Chen has 18 gold medals in FINA competitions. And it's because of that sort of diving that she has 18 gold medals in FINA competitions. This is looking pretty secure for another very well-extended lead. Powerful takeoff. 75.33. Saskia Oettinghaus and Jana Rotter. Forward 3.5 somersaults piked. They've had a good competition and are looking good value for a place on the podium, these two 24-year-olds, and what it would mean to Rotter as a diver who lives in this city. This wasn't perhaps their most tidily executed dive. A little bit of leg bend in the pike. Fair amount of splash. 63.24. Will certainly preserve that second place position. Now to Brazil with Luana Lira and Ana Lucia dos Santos. Reverse 2.5 somersaults, piked 3.0 degree of difficulty. That's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate for the Brazilians. Very difficult entry into the water.
Execution 4-4-4.
Have a look back at it.
Synchronization 4.
Tricky one for Dos Santos, this.
4.5.
Very arched, overarched coming into the water. 36. It is Chang and Chen who are very comfortably clear at the top of the leaderboard. Ertinghaus and Rotter, with 1 round to go, have put themselves in a very good position to secure silver. Now, Colombia are very close to the USA. They managed to erode part of that lead. So we get to a really important dive for the USA to try to consolidate the bronze medal position. Kristen Hayden and Brooke Schultz. Forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist, piked dive. Both the USA and Colombia will be going for 3.0 degrees of difficulty. Now, what chance does this leave the Colombians? That's the question. Going to be a nervous moment now for the US team, having completed their final dive, to wait and see. It's a score of 63. It is a fine time to produce overwhelmingly their best dive of the competition so far. Now requires a lot of Viana Uribe and Daniela Zapata. Back 2.5 somersaults, piked coming up. Same degree of difficulty, 3.0, as we just saw from the Americans. Here go the reigning South American Games champions. Well, they had a slightly tricky entry into the water. They've given it everything they have, though, and they've been in such super form recently, especially Uribe, who won 3 gold medals in Paraguay. It was an excellent competition from the Colombians at those games. They were entirely dominant. It's going to come up short, though, 45. So, the United States of America have won that little mini battle with Colombia for a place on the podium. Now we see about Germany, with the Americans guaranteed a medal. Wonderful moment for Hayden, her first medal in a FINA competition. Now to Chang Yani and Chen Yuen, leading comfortably. They only sit around 6 points behind the USA at the moment, so barring extraordinary circumstances, they'll head back into the lead. Forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist pike. And that's the job well done. Minimal splash, well-controlled dive. Impressive execution. And another gold medal heading the way of the People's Republic of China without any real question, without any real doubt. Good work. Leg form very strong, toes well pointed, heels nicely together. It's tidy. And it will do very well. 78.3, and they go into the lead and are all but assured of taking the gold medal. It will be a 19th gold medal in a FINA competition for Chen. Now to Saskia Ertinghaus and Jana-Lisa Rotter. What a good competition from them so far. Now looking to go back into that silver medal position where they have been sitting for much of it, with reverse 2.5 somersaults piked, 3.0 degree of difficulty. Well done to them on a really good day, a really good final. It's always a nerve-wracking experience, isn't it, to perform in front of the home crowd. Was it as fully comfortable as they were hoping for? Probably not. Synchronization, as you can see there, was a little way with the entry into the water on the right, not the cleanest. But it will do. 55.8. They have gone into the silver medal position. And with Brazil playing catch-up very strongly, they'll be confident, as will they. They're home and dry. And so to the final dive of this women's synchronized 3-meter springboard final. It is Luana Lira and Ana Lucia dos Santos of Brazil. Forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist height. It was a slightly nerve-wracking dive to watch from them to conclude their competition. Their best effort coming in the 3rd round so far. See how this one compares, but from the takeoff, as you can see, not fully together, and that led to synchronization issues throughout. Execution-wise, better than the synchronization. 51.3. Same as that 3rd round dive. So there we have confirmation of the final standings in this competition, and we'll bring you the classified results in just a moment or two. But it is another gold medal, a 4th out of 4 for the People's Republic of China, and a great moment for an obviously delighted Kristen Hayden, who gets her first ever medal in a FINA competition. She looks thrilled about it. And Brooke Schultz gets another medal in a FINA event, her first World Cup one though. Let's have a look back at the People's Republic of China and how they went about securing the victory. No doubt whatsoever. What a remarkable accomplishment for Chang Yanni and Chen Yuen. When you look at their World Cup honours, Chang, that's her 3rd World Cup synchronised gold. 4th World Cup gold for Chen. Ertinghaus and Rotter taking the silver, and Hayden and Schultz of the USA winning the bronze medal.
Next competition, men's 3-meter synchronized diving final. Will start at 3:05. Thank you all, also to all the judges and the audience. Thanks for being here.
So that brings to a conclusion the women's synchronized 3-meter springboard final. We have coming up in just a short while the men's 3-meter synchronized springboard final. So that will be coming up in around about 25 minutes time here in Berlin. So you have a moment to catch your breath, and we'll see you in a short while for more diving at the FINA World Cup.